Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry, sometimes I'm a little bit... There's only about a 5 or 6 minute window between hours 1 and 2 here, and it takes me a moment to get things up and running. And this morning I was responding to Facebook comments and didn't get the stream up as quickly as I would have liked. So we're up and streaming on YouTube. Hey, YouTube, it's good to see you. No matter where you're watching or listening to this program. And again, whether you're listening on radio, whether you're listening on podcast, we appreciate having you here no matter how you tune in to us. So we've been talking about COVID. We've been talking about there's questions. There's questions that I think we have that need answers. I think you can say that I think most conservative Americans were reasonable. We are interested in seeing COVID go away, but we also know that wanting it to go away and actually having the things that we do making that happen, those things do not always connect or meet. And so I think some of us, many of us reluctantly or with some degree of hesitation or sometimes, maybe just, even we wholeheartedly, some folks followed along with what we were told to do back in late March, April, and into May. And we've seen the effects. We've seen the effects of the government's shutting down the economy. Many people are still without jobs. We're actually hiring a couple of positions here. Got a lot of fantastic candidates, and one of those reasons is because there's not a lot of hiring going on, and a lot of people lost jobs, and a lot of, of course, now we have college graduates that are trying to get into the workforce, so there's kind of a bottleneck because of all. We're going to be digging out of this COVID economic mess for a long time. And look, it's not just about the economy, but to say that it's not at all about the economy is patently ridiculous. It was about three things. It still is about three things. You've got the disease, which is important. Obviously, we don't want people to get sick and die. It's about the economy. We don't want to see the measures that we take be so extreme that there's incredible economic turmoil causing businesses to go out of existence, out of business, close their doors, not be able to pay their workers, lead to something as extreme in the most extreme circumstances as something like the Great Depression. No one can find work. That's not good. That leads to poverty and sickness and death and mental health problems. There's a whole lot of things that can come from that. That's not good. So you got the economic side, and then you get the side that just says, let's not forget sight of what the government's supposed to be doing. Let's not lose sight of what the government's authorities are. And we're in an area that, look, the state has an interest here. I don't deny that. In fact, when you go back to the early things that I was saying about this, I remember having these very discussions. The public health is in the state's interest, the government's interest. So they have, if they propose something and they can, they can't just unilaterally force us to do it because they feel like it. That's the danger here. And that's where I would say there's other things going on and other people thinking through how they can manipulate our response to this or our willingness to go along with just whatever they unilaterally declare. That does not invalidate the first point that this is a real virus. It just means that there are political opportunists. That's what this means. There are political opportunists out there looking for an opportunity to exploit a weakness in the armor of the American people. Excuse me. Voice is giving me a little bit of a problem here this segment. But there are politicians out there who are looking to find a kink in the armor of the American people to see where they can exploit it and to kind of dig in, spread that gap, and weaken the defenses against an overarching, out of control, growing government. That's undeniable. It does not mean that COVID's not real. It means that you have people who are, that's the third area we've got to be vigilant about. We've got to be mindful of. We've got to pay attention to. And see, I think the media tries to oversimplify this, and they want to put you in one bucket. They want to say, do you care about COVID? People dying from COVID? Okay, then you got to do whatever's necessary to save their lives. How much is a life worth to you, Todd? Okay, well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to sound, again, I believe all human beings are created in the image of God, and that every human being that's ever walked this planet has enough, has the same amount of intrinsic value, and that value was enough for God to come to this planet, to give his life, to reconnect with that person and give them an opportunity to seek forgiveness and to be with him forever in eternity in heaven. And so that hasn't changed. There's the last time I checked, and this is where I you can't forget the first part of that statement, but there's no such thing as a 0% mortality rate in life. And we're never there. I mean, there are certain things we cannot do anything about. I know that governments have convinced some people that they are effectively God, but there are things that they cannot do. There's lots of things that they cannot do. Among those, I would include ensuring fairness, ensuring equality of outcomes. So how in the world do we think that they can accomplish these things? I mean, I always I like the example of, if you think someone else is better looking than you, like that, and then you say, well, they're getting privileges because they're better looking, a cute girl, guys are treating her differently than they treat me. Okay, what are you going to do about that? How in the world what could be implemented to change that? Right? And the other thing is, life is so much more complex than that. You might be smarter than her. You might be more attractive to somebody else than she is. I mean, there's an infinite number. You might be more attractive to more people than she is, and you just don't realize it because of the personal viewpoint that you have of yourself. I mean, I can give you 5,000. I don't have the time to do this, but you could give thousands of factors that play into these things. How in the world do we expect the government to do anything about this? This is just called life. This is not a perfect place. There's a lot of good things that can happen here, but it usually starts with our choices to pursue things that are good and to not focus on envy and greed and division and all that. And a lot of times we kind of get what we set our mind out to do. I mean, those things that we plan in our mind and heart are kind of that's the fruit that we'll reap, right? If we're planting envy and greed and all these things, I mean, that's a crop that yields that yields a crop that's not good and beneficial. That's going to be conditions are going to worsen if that's the viewpoint. My point is saying, what is the government supposed to do about this stuff? Reminds me of a Seinfeld. Elaine drew a cartoon for the New Yorker magazine. I can still see her saying it. And she says she drew a pig that went to a complaint desk and said, "I wish I were taller." As though the person at the complaint desk is going to be able to remedy that problem. What do you want them to do about this? Right? Now, that's not to say the government can't do anything about anything. It just means that it can't. And in many cases, it just shouldn't anyway. It's just life. And there's a series of choices, and just we have to let life play out and accept the hand that we've been dealt and play it to the best of our ability. And I'll tell you, having a mindset that's negative, having a mindset that thinks, always from a position of victimhood, or that someone else has an advantage. I see stories all the time. I read these stories. I love stories like this. People who take incredible disadvantage and turn it into, absolutely astonishing results. There are so many success stories like that in America and around the world, but America has so many of these. They are inspirational, folks. Absolutely inspirational. But yet it starts with, it all comes down to the individual, what he or she is willing to accept, what he or she is willing to see, the attitude, the perspective, what they're willing to put in and work themselves through. Everyone that's had great success in this country, if you look at their story, they've overcome remarkable odds. They've had incredible difficulties. Like I think of even Damon John. I don't even care what his politics are, but Damon John, FUBU. He founded FUBU. Tells a story of sleeping basically on the floor of a tiny apartment for years. Didn't have anything. Would eat rice-a-roni every meal or whatever. This is not uncommon. The sacrifice, the commitment, the devotion, the hard work, the optimism, the unrelenting desire, and the willingness to stick to it, regardless of the consequences, and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Lots of stories I can share about some of these things just from people that I know as well. But that the government can't do anything about those things. So what can the government do something about? Well, the Constitution kind of lays out what the government can and should do something about. And the government does have a role and an interest in public health. But does that mean they can do whatever they want? Can they just unilaterally make orders and demands upon the American people? Do we not have the right to ask questions and to say, look, we saw what you did to the economy 2 months ago or whatever. Totally destroyed. Totally. Blew it up, man. Totally blew it up with what was going on. Because you focused on one of those buckets, the bucket of COVID, which again is critically important. But the question is, at some point, what can you do about it? I'm not saying you can't impact it. I'm not saying we can't make it better. I'm not saying we can't come up with something that's going to eventually help us beat this thing. But maybe we can't. Maybe this just has to run its course, and we need to do our best at protecting ourselves with our own individual choices. Because when the government gets involved and takes dramatic action, now you create other problems. Now you create mass unemployment. Now you create people who maybe now are looking in the eyes of poverty. They're now on government programs. They've never been on a government program in their life, but you completely shut down their industry and they can't find a job anywhere else because this is tough times on everybody still. And things have improved. And the underlying economy itself, because of actions taken by President Trump and then the response of the market to those actions, lower taxes, less bureaucracy, right? More control over your own destiny, less concern about the government coming in and taking some dramatic action that's going to make your costs increase or your liability increase dramatically. And so the economy is fundamentally strong in a lot of ways, and that's what we'd been seeing up until COVID. And not only that bucket, you've got, again, the COVID concern, the concern for the economy, and the concern for just what we're letting our government do to begin with. Why? They don't know what they're talking about. They just don't know what they're talking about. They mocked the mask at the beginning. Fauci basically said that the things don't work. Later, I think I remember him saying the reason he said he kind of poo-pooed masks at one point was because there weren't enough masks, so he just, was telling people that they didn't work or some such thing. What is that all about? Now it makes me wonder, what are you telling me to wear a mask now for? What's your angle here? If you wanted me to think I shouldn't have worn one because there weren't any, because you didn't want me to panic, what is your motivation now? Forgive me if I ask that question. I think it's completely justified. And there's no answers for these things. And we're just basically left with this notion of, Are you going to comply or not? Are you going to comply with the order potentially in your state, in your community, to wear a mask? Are you going to risk, paying a fine and going to jail? Why don't you just comply? What's the big deal? I mean, I don't know. And everyone has their own answers to that. And I'm not saying, look, on the one hand, in a logical sense, you can say, okay, if a mask doesn't work, it's no worse than not wearing one. So why don't I just wear one? I don't know. Maybe I just don't feel comfortable. Maybe the job I do. I mean, I think about coming on here and wearing a mask and talking. Is that even possible? I don't even know. And then there's other questions. Does touching the mask create a bigger problem and make it more likely for me to spread the disease? That's what we were told at one point, to spread the disease. They don't answer these questions. They just say research has shown. Well, what happened to the research that showed that masks were worthless? When did that get done away with? Why did that matter so much at the beginning of this, and now it doesn't matter at all? That research was just wrong. Can we not ask why? Reminds me of how they handle Hunter Biden. The media just says, hey, we looked into that, nothing there. Okay, well, forgive me because I don't trust you, media. Forgive me for asking the question, but what did you look into? What did you find out? What made you realize that there was nothing there? Well, that's been investigated, Todd, and there's nothing there. Okay, well, that's not answering my question. Explain to me what you looked into. Who did you talk to? What did you investigate? What did they say? What did you find that makes you so certain that there's nothing between Hunter, Biden, Burisma, all this stuff, Joe Biden, Vice President Joe Biden back in the day, all this money that's exchanged hands? What made you so certain about this? I mean, I'm okay. Explain to me. That's it. I'm just saying explain it. Don't do it. Don't even take the effort to do it. You're just supposed to trust them. It's mind-boggling to me how they can't look at this and say, you know what? I understand why the American people don't trust a word we say, because we've been all over the board on this. The media is dishonest about this. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter at all during the protests. Now suddenly it matters. The protest doesn't spread the virus, we're told, but going to church and singing does. And not wearing a mask at Walmart does, even if I'm socially distanced. Hey, you just forgive me if I need that explained to me. That's it. Explain it to me. Don't tell me I want grandma to die. Don't tell me I'm trying to be non-compliant. Don't tell me just wear the mask. What's the big deal? Just explain it to me. You're in charge of protecting the public health here, and I'm cool with that to a point. Just if you're going to ask me to do something, explain it. That's it. That's all I'm asking. I think that's a completely reasonable and rational perspective. I do. And again, I'm not saying it. Maybe just wear a mask and accept it, but then you just begin to wonder that third circle, that third bubble, that third box. Again, we got the COVID box, we got the economy box, and we got that box that says, what's the role of government? And you know that people are observing how we collectively respond to these mindless orders. And I guarantee somebody's thinking, what else can we get the American people to do? Now, I'm not saying that's how the average American's thinking, but there's somebody in a position of government that's looking at this. Somebody that's working for George Soros right now that's studying this. I have zero doubt about that. I also have zero doubt that I am really, really long in this segment. Oz has tried her best to make sure I stay on point here time-wise, to no avail. So sorry, Oz, and sorry, listener. Got to take a break. Next segment is going to be really truncated, so sit tight, bear with me as I get us back on track here. You're listening to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freegee, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegieAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegie, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegieAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegie, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegie and Freegie Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Hi, this is Kenton with Christian Community Connect. We're a network of business professionals that are committed to living out our faith in the marketplace by preferring one another in love while serving everyone. With online listings at $27 per month, if you're a Christian in business, committed to treating others as you would want to be treated, we would love to include you. Check our reviews and sign up at ChristianCommunityConnect.com.
Trace Adkins with special guests Big Country and Jake Dodds, presented by Ray Skillman Hoosier Ford. Friday, July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds in Martinsville, Indiana. Get your tickets now at ToddHuffShow.com/Trace. Seating is open, so bring your own lawn chairs and blankets. And with social distancing guidelines in place, there's still plenty of room to feel safe and comfortable. Trace Adkins with special guests Big Country and Jake Dodds, presented by Ray Skillman Hoosier Ford. July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds. Get your tickets now at ToddHuffShow.com/Trace.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the health care they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Our partner, Global Plasma Solutions, has published ionization testing results that demonstrate a 99.4% reduction rate on a SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 surface strain within 30 minutes. This is the first instance that an air purification company has effectively neutralized SARS-CoV-2. Commercial Service Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is installing this solution in businesses and homes in South Central Indiana. Get your free information kit at commercialservice.com/info. Commercial Service, commercial-grade service for your home.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
Welcome back. So, talking about all this COVID stuff, I saw yesterday that I think it's the FDA. It's one of the acronyms, one of the alphabet soup government agencies. I believe it was the FDA is recalling hand sanitizer. Oz, I don't know if you saw this. So we're supposed to hand sanitize. I just had a listener say that now there's one, I don't know, doctor, scientist that's saying we should sanitize our nose. I don't know what that means. If Trump says that we're going to have to be, they're going to accuse Trump of saying you're squirting hand sanitizer up your nose. But does that mean neti pot? I mean, I know that, you can use something like a neti pot. The philosophy there is to flush even the cold and flu virus out of your nose when it's, that's the first place that it typically gets, you breathe in and there's virus, whatever, around you. And, the nose is designed to filter out some of that. But so the neti pot or things like it, you're you put a mixture of, I don't know what's in the mixture, but some sort of mixture in with water, with what's the type of bottled water? I'm sorry? Distilled water. Yeah, you don't want to use tap water because there's been instances of some bacteria that might be in there that could really harm the brain if it gets up into the nose. So you put distilled water in with this mixture, and it's supposed to flush out the sinuses in the nose. So I don't know exactly what it means to sanitize the nose, but I mean, the idea of trying to flush that out of the nasal passages makes sense to me. I'm not saying that that's the solution, but I can understand what, again, not the hand sanitizer up the nose, but just this notion of flushing this out. But it reminds me of what I read a day or two ago. Newsweek is where I just looked this up really quickly. Headline here: FDA recall list now shows these 69 toxic hand sanitizers that are dangerous. This was dated yesterday. I feel like I read it the day before. Anyway, there's an ingredient. I'm trying to find the ingredient. Many of these are manufactured in Mexico. Methanol. So if you see methanol in your hand sanitizer, again, from what I'm reading here, I'm not a scientist. You may think that I am. I'm not. But if methanol is in the hand sanitizer, apparently that's not a good thing, and it can actually lead to something called methanol poisoning. Methanol poisoning. Now, the FDA has said that, from what I read the other day, that no one has actually experienced methanol poisoning to their knowledge, but they say that having methanol in hand sanitizers can be harmful. If someone, it really is if you ingest it. I don't know what that means. I don't know if you have to take the bottle and just start sucking it down. Don't do that, by the way. But it says accidentally. So I don't know if you can have enough on your hands and ingest it that way, or if it's, much more intentional. But they've recalled or, published a list of 69 dangerous hand sanitizers because they have methanol, and people can get methanol poisoning. So here we go. I mean, now you're supposed to hand sanitize everything, and then now you get these reports that, hand sanitizer has methanol, so you got to look for that ingredient, which, again, you should probably find a place, a manufacturer that you can trust. But this is just all over the place. It's impossible for the average person to manage all of this stuff, and this freaks people out. And they have to know this. This freaks people out. You can't see this, right? We're told, remember we were told at the beginning, we had different reports on this, but wash your groceries. Wash down your groceries with bleach water or disinfectant or something. I don't know. I mean, this has just been all over the place. Again, I want to know, if masks work, why did we see a decrease in a period of time that people weren't wearing masks? Then you see an increase in infections after the protest, but the protest had nothing to do with that. Supposedly, science tells us it's because people didn't wear a mask. Well, and they weren't social distancing. And ironically, they tell us that protesting helped social distancing, to which I say, if your state or city is seeing an outbreak of COVID, then I guess just bring in the protesters. That'll take care of the problem. I mean, it just defies sense and logic. And if I'm wrong, then explain it to me, right? That's the thing. If I'm wrong, explain to me where I'm wrong. Because I guarantee you, over the course of the next 12 hours a day, I will hear 25 things, and they will probably all contradict one another in some way, shape, manner, or form as it pertains to COVID. And you will too. And then we're just supposed to blindly trust these folks who, by the way, can't even perform their fundamental, most basic responsibilities. Complete ineptness. If you did your job like the average politician did his or hers, you wouldn't have a job, folks. The only group of people I think that have a worse track record or maybe a meteorologist. And I know some meteorologist is going to get ticked at me for saying that. But I think that is true. I feel like you don't have to be right ever as a meteorologist. People just have to like you. People just have to like you, and that's good enough. But anyway, take it easy out there. I'm not saying there's not some good ones, but there's plenty of folks that have no idea what they're talking about. And by the way, that's why I say oftentimes they can't tell me if it's going to rain tomorrow, but they can tell me the sea levels in 100 years. It's just patently absurd to me, which is another reason that gets us into another issue, which I don't want to venture down today. But same sort of thing here. But I got to take a break. Listening here to Conservative Not Bitter Talk, I'm your host, Todd Huff, back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
I love my community, and I wanted to do more to make a difference with my hard-earned dollars. I wanted to make an impact and help shape our future and our county. So I gave money to the Community Foundation of Morgan County. More than just charitable giving, the money I donate is tracked and measured so every dollar is held accountable. It's a social return on your investment. Why don't you join me in donating at cfmconline.org? That's cfmconline.org. Philanthropy with measurable impact.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
We all know having health insurance doesn't always equal health care. That's why at Freedom HealthWorks, we believe the key to maintaining good health is based on a straightforward, personal relationship with your physician. With our direct doctor-patient relationship model, we remove your healthcare middleman and replace him with transparent pricing and incentive to call your doctor at the first sign of illness. So if you're ready to experience real care from a doctor that really cares about you, go to freedomhealthworks.com and learn more about the benefits of our direct primary care model. Freedom HealthWorks. Be treated better.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. 800-764-9168. That's 800-764-9168.
Indy Decorative Concrete is hiring immediately. They're looking for workers with experience finishing concrete. Pay is $25 to $30 per hour with weekly overtime. All jobs are located within the city of Indianapolis. Call 317-784-1464 or apply in person at their offices located at 8366 Brookville Road, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46239. They're open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit their website, www.indydecorativeconcrete.com. www.indydecorativeconcrete.com.
Ever ask yourself, What does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
All right, welcome back. So I want to shift gears a little bit here. Actually, even completely. I don't want to talk about COVID anymore. It's a Friday. I don't want to talk about this heading into the weekend. Did you see this? Jim Acosta tweets out something that Kayleigh McEnany said at a press conference. Sorry, my article froze here. Bear with me as I reload this, hoping that this does reload. But Jim Acosta tweeted out something that was out of context. So Kayleigh McEnany is at doing a briefing, and Jim Acosta, this is yesterday afternoon, 3 o'clock, 3:01 p.m., the White House press secretary on Trump's push to reopen schools, quote, "The science should not stand in the way of this." So that tweet makes it sound like Kayleigh McEnany is saying, look, we don't care about anything that science says. What we care about is Trump getting what he wants, and that's reopening schools. Right? That's what that sounds like. So I want you to ask yourself, if you were a journalist, right, Jim Acosta, we know who Jim Acosta is. Folks, this guy, when I talk about professional deceivers, this is Exhibit A, Jim Acosta, CNN. Jim Acosta wakes up every day thinking about how he can misrepresent what the White House is saying, or what conservatives, but typically the White House. I mean, he's dealing with the White House, but he talks about other stuff too. I don't ever take this guy seriously. I think he's as dishonest as the day is long. But nonetheless, so just ask yourself this question. If you listen to Kayleigh McEnany say what I'm about to play for you, if this is how you would tweet this out. Again, he tweeted out that Kayleigh McEnany said the science should not stand in the way of this being the reopening of schools. So listen to this and see if that's really what the message of this, of what she was saying was. Here she goes. Come on, here we go.
You talked about earlier with school districts, but we're seeing more school districts, at least in Virginia, for example, last night, deciding to go online only. What does the president say to parents out there who are now going, okay, what do I do with my kids?
Yeah, the president has said unmistakably that he wants schools to open, and I was just in the Oval talking to him about that. And when he says open, he means open and full, kids being able to attend each and every day at their school. The science should not stand in the way of this. And as Dr. Scott Atlas said, I thought this was a good quote. Of course we can do it. Everyone else in the Western world, our peer nations, are doing it. We are the outlier here. The science is very clear on this. That, for instance, you look at the JAMA pediatric study of 46 pediatric hospitals in North America that said the risk of critical illness from COVID is far less for children than that of seasonal flu. The science is on our side here, and we encourage for localities and states to just simply follow the science, open our schools. It's very damaging to our children. There's a lack of reporting of abuse. There's mental depressions that are not addressed, suicidal ideations that are not addressed when students are not in school. Our schools are extremely important. They're essential, and they must reopen.
Okay, so she did say the science does not stand in the way of this, but that's the context there. The context is what she was saying, because she said the science is on our side. She later went on to say that. What she was trying to communicate was people in the scientific community who don't want to see the schools open for whatever reason, which the idea that the scientific community is apolitical or cannot be political by definition is a faulty premise. And so I took what she was saying when listening to that response in its totality was that she doesn't want people using science to block it when science, the reopening of schools, when science is clearly on the side of reopening schools. Now, I don't know really what I think about this because, again, based upon what we spent the past both hours talking about today, which is, I mean, we've been subjected to so much contradictory information about COVID, and it's all over the place. So, I mean, I like the idea. I mean, that seems to be the case that even what I've looked at, the data seems to suggest that it's not dangerous to young students, and there's questions on how much they really carry it if they don't contract it anyway, how much of this asymptomatic transmission there is. There might be asymptomatic people that have it, but how much are they really transmitting it? There's all sorts of questions, right, about this. So I don't want to get into that because specifically, I'm just simply saying she wasn't saying to heck with science. She was saying the science is on our side and we shouldn't let people try to, manipulate the science or use the science to try to keep President Trump from getting something done that needs to be gotten done for reasons that aren't really legitimate and accurate, because science is telling us that schools are safe to reopen. And a lot of countries have already done this. But then again, I mean, in fairness, I try to be fair here, but in fairness, other countries haven't seen, the United States has more cases. You could say we also have more testing. I get all this stuff. I do. Mortality rates are down. I understand. I'm just saying that I just want to make sure that we communicate, because there's people who just genuinely disagree. There's people that try to do these things for political motivations, and what Jim Acosta is doing here is absolutely for that, trying to misrepresent what Kayleigh McEnany is saying, which is he's trying to further the narrative that the White House is anti-science, which is not what she was saying. But nonetheless, that is what he wants you to think. Dishonest journalist, dishonest network, deceitful, professional deceivers. Got to take a break. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
Hey folks, this is Trace Atkins, and we're doing a concert July 31st at the Morgan County Fairgrounds in Martinsville, Indiana. You can get tickets now at toddhuffshow.com/trace.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a quiet place to think in your home. Now all the kids have flown the nest and you find yourself wondering what to do with all of that extra space. This is Bruce of Bruce Richardson Realty. My team and I understand that life changes, and so do your home needs. So whether you're downsizing or upsizing, give us a call at 317-507-3285. Let us help you find the best fit for your residential or your commercial property needs. 317-507-3285.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
Ever ask yourself, What does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
All right, folks, welcome back. We are, look, again, there's a lot of things to navigate today, and we're on the cusp. We're at the beginning of the final push, the final, the campaign. We have an election here in, 3.5 months? Is that right? 3.5 months. We're going to be, who knows, in 3.5 months, what's going to be the state of affairs in the United States of America. But in 3.5 months, we're going to be presumably casting ballots somehow. Maybe they're going to mail you ballots. That's what they want, so you can get 8 or 10 in the mail. You can grab some out of your neighbor's mailbox. The idea that there's not problems with mail-in ballots are silly. In fact, I saw a headline here yesterday. 100,000 ballots that were received by mail were thrown out by, I think it was California. There's some questions as to what that was all about, but we're told there's no voter fraud, nothing to be concerned with, and all of that. But we're in the election. We're in the election season, campaign season. One candidate's hiding in his basement. Another's being incessantly attacked. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be questions and that sort of thing. It's never my position. The media has a legitimate responsibility to play, a legitimate role to play in the process here. But the idea that, the other guy, the other side's candidate, can hide out in his basement indefinitely without any questions whatsoever, especially when there's big issues here. Tara Reid, Burisma, the handling of all the stuff that led up to the Russian collusion investigation with Biden. Gee whiz. I'd like to see Corn Pop. I'd like to see someone find Corn Pop. Somebody find Corn Pop, get him an interview, and have him recount the infamous encounter with tough guy Joe Biden back in the Wilmington, Delaware pool circa 1960, where Biden was told to grab a piece of chain and meet Corn Pop in the parking lot. I'd like to hear Corn Pop run down and interviewed for this as well. But look, we've got it's easy to forget that this is we got votes to cast here. Hopefully with who knows where states will be able to not have these conversations about shutting things down. But again, there is a political, I'm not saying this is all political, but politicians are political opportunists, and some will use this to further their political cause, which will include, if this thinks that this hurts Trump and helps the Democrats, this will absolutely, they will make sure that this will be able to be an issue in November. Make no mistake about that. Again, there's 3 buckets here, right? There's the bucket of taking care of COVID, there's the bucket of taking care of the economy, and there's the bucket, the political bucket, making sure that we're not letting our government grow out of control, and be aware of how these things can be politically used against us or in messaging and the campaign. So we have to be aware of all 3 of these things. All 3 of these things are important, and it doesn't have to be a one one or the other sort of bucket that you're concerned with. A reasonable American is concerned with all three. And I've got to take a break. Come back and wrap up for the week. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Hi, my name is John Swadner, Sales Director of the Todd Huff Show. As a listener of the program, you know the show is growing. 4 years ago, it began as a podcast in a closet. Today, it's a 2-hour show that airs during morning drive in Indy and in Utah, and we're just scratching the surface. Todd brought me on board to help the show and our advertisers grow. That's why I'm specifically looking for partners who are a good fit to advertise with us. Would that be you? To learn more about what advertising would look like and to determine if it's a good fit for your business, shoot me an email to john@toddhuffshow.com. And be sure to ask me about some of our special packages that will save you up to 40%. Email john@toddhuffshow.com. Shoot me an email today.
Radon is an invisible, odorless gas that kills more people than drunk driving. In fact, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. Is radon threatening the health of your family? Call Radon Environmental at 317-843-0804. Radon Environmental specializes in radon testing and mitigation. The process is quick, easy, and worth it. Radon Environmental wants to make sure your family's health is not at risk. Call 317-843-0804.
Ever wondered what shooting a real machine gun feels like? At Indy Trading Post, you can have an awesome and safe shooting experience in our family-friendly environment. Firing a weapon on full auto is something you will always remember. Schedule some range time today and let Indy Trading Post give you the real machine gun shooting experience. We guarantee you'll have a blast. Give us a call at 317-782-4867 or schedule your range time at fullautoindy.com.
Are you an electrician, plumber, or handyman looking for an 8-to-5 job that pays you what you're worth? Copper Ridge Home Services wants you. Our veteran-owned family business offers holiday pay, weekends off, and on-site training for entry-level positions. Our team is growing, so if you have a can-do attitude, we want you to be part of that growth. Ready for a change? Give Copper Ridge a call at 317-839-6100. That's 317-839-6100. Copper Ridge Home Services. We value your time.
If you own a rental property, you know the hassles of marketing, renting, collecting, and the handling of maintenance and repairs. One call to Zuluscape can put an end to your property management headaches. Zuluscape has over 20 years of experience helping landlords throughout central Indiana and taking the stress out of owning a rental. From A to Z, let Zuluscape handle it all so you can enjoy owning a rental instead of hating being a landlord. Give us a call at 317-663-8485 or visit our website at zuluscape.com.
All right, folks, I know this is the saddest time of the week for you, and I have to tell you, I understand. There's not a whole lot I can do about that except to direct you to our website where you can get archives of other episodes, other content, toddhuffshow.com/listen. That should be able to carry you through the next couple of days until we're back at it on Monday. You can also sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Huff to 31996, Huff 31996, or you can sign up to get more information on CNBU, our online conservative training academy, which we're going to be ramping up here now that we've got this new staff. You would simply text the word course to 888111. Folks, there's the music. It's time to shut up. Have a great weekend. SDG. See you soon. Take care.
Business leaders, are your employees